Hi, my name is Lorenzo Maggiorelli and I am here to introduce you to my research on Chinese aid to Latin America and the Caribbean. Previous research on Chinese foreign aid has largely focused on Africa as a recipient. Nevertheless, China's emergence as a donor is also particularly relevant for Latin America and the Caribbean. In fact, since the last decade, China is sharply expanding its presence as a donor to the region. The share of Chinese aid allocated to Latin America and the Caribbean has passed from less than 5% to 20% of its total budget. This happens at a time when the United States decreased both their humanitarian aid and military aid directed to the region. China's emergence as a donor is also raising a series of concerns. On the one hand, some authors claim that Chinese aid is a rogue aid motivated only by self-interest and not focusing on the need of the recipient countries. Others talk about the existence of an authoritarian nexus, a special relation with authoritarian countries in Latin America and the Caribbean. On the other hand, other authors enthusiastically define cooperation between China and Latin America and the Caribbean as a marriage made in heaven, in which the leading principle is mutual benefit. There are only a few studies trying to empirically test these claims with data, being the most remarkable the work of Dreher and Fuchs from 2012. My research is the first econometric study of determinants of Chinese aid with a regional approach, focusing especially on Latin America and the Caribbean. My research then is designed to understand which are the factors influencing the allocation of Chinese aid to Latin America and the Caribbean. How does the region compare to other regions of the developing world? To answer my research questions, I built a database which collects information on Chinese aid, such as the amount of aid, number of aid projects, and the quantity of food aid delivered to 151 developing countries from 1956 to 2016, divided into 6 main historical phases. Information required to answer the research question include datasets from iData, OECD, and the World Food Programme, among others. Making use of such data, I ran a series of nested regressions to empirically test whether and to what extent Chinese aid is motivated by a series of determinants, which include the recipient country's development needs, the institutional characteristics of the recipient, and China's political and commercial self-interest. Coming to the results of this analysis, I find that first, the need of the recipient, as measured by GDP per capita, is not a strong determinant of Chinese aid to Latin America and the Caribbean. Second, my data shows that, differently from Sub-Saharan Africa, Chinese opposition to democratization is not present in Latin America and the Caribbean. In fact, in this region, democratic countries receive a bigger share of aid than non-democratic countries. Third, I find that political aspects generally play a secondary role in China's relation with Latin America and the Caribbean. Only the recognition of Taiwan is found to be a relevant factor for aid allocation, but this was expected considering that 11 out of 19 countries who recognize Taiwan are in this region. Finally, the importance of commercial motives behind aid allocation is reflected by the fact that all oil-rich countries, particularly Venezuela, are receiving more foreign aid by China. To summarize, the reality emerging from my empirical tests shows that the most worrying expectations about Chinese aid program are not justified. On the contrary, the results of my analysis seem to reflect the fact that China's official policy towards international cooperation with Latin America and the Caribbean is based on a win-win approach. On the one hand, China needs big amounts of oil and raw materials for its energy and production needs. On the other hand, Latin America and the Caribbean also need a buyer for their abundant natural resources and needs Chinese foreign aid and investment for their development goals. I want to thank you once again for allowing me to speak to you today. If you have any questions or comments, please use my contact information and send me an email. Thank you and see you again soon.